Big news, guys. Our exclusive MMA and striking courses are now open for enrollment on the all-new fightTIPS.com. Click the link in the description to learn more. What's up, guys? Shane here.
That's the Anomaly.
And just last week, we talked about why you should be training in Southpaw. In this video, we're going to give you 3 different combos that you can practice for the hands, for the feet, and for setting up takedowns from both Orthodox and Southpaw positions, switching in between. Let's take a look.
For our first drill, we are going to be using our hands. We're going to be using the switch jab to get to the opposite stance. So it's going to look something like this here. First, I'll do it solo in front of the camera here. I'm standing in my regular Orthodox stance. I'm going to switch jab, which means my stance is switching here. I'm throwing my jab at the same time, but notice now I'm in the Southpaw stance. So I'm going to come back with the hook and follow through with the cross. Okay, now same thing. I'm just going to stay here in Southpaw, switch jab, hook, cross. So you can be working this in terms of like shadow boxing. I'll turn to the angle so you guys can see where I stay here. I jab, I hook, cross. Jab, hook, cross. All right, so it's gonna look something like that. Now, if we are drilling it with a partner or we're using it in sparring, so make sure you practice it beforehand. Make sure you get those shadow boxing rounds in with this. Yeah. We want to cut even more of an angle. So it'll look something like this here, just slow motion for you. I'm gonna do my switch jab. I'm really gonna exaggerate getting outside of that lead foot, right? And now from here, I can throw that hook, cross. I've got a really good angle on Shane here. Yeah. So again, I'm gonna switch jab, bah, bah, bah. I've almost cut like a full 45 or a full 90 degree on him. Yeah. Now Shane faces me so you guys can see it over here as well. I'm going to cut to that same side, so I'm going to stay in Orthodox here. Switch jab, boom, boom. I'll go all the way to the outside, and I've landed my shots. Now, Shane can still turn and face me, and I can do the same thing. Okay, so switch jab, hook, cross. I still got more of an angle on Shane, and now I'm switching stance too, so it's going to hopefully confuse our opponent a little bit. The one thing is obviously make sure that when we are cutting to the inside to that power hand that we do set it up properly and we're not just diving our head right into that power cross.
Yeah, this is a beautiful one here too. Everyone talks about when in that open stance with their Southpaw, getting the foot on the outside, right? Try to beat that lead foot, and by doing that switch jab, look, I'm getting my foot to the outside. I get the hook, which kind of gets him heavy on that side, just keeps him occupied. And by having the foot on the outside gives me the perfect angle for that left straight down the center. When Vince adjusts, then bang, I come back here, and now I got the perfect right down the center again with the cross. So, I mean, all the punches are definitely effective, but the setting up that rear straight is this is a huge one for that. Yeah. All right, let's talk about kicks now. So when I first started in Taekwondo, there really wasn't like an emphasis on Orthodox or Southpaw because we would rep everything out on both sides. We would practice one technique, let's say it's a roundhouse kick, and we would just do line drills up and back from Orthodox, then you would land in Southpaw, then you would throw it in Southpaw and land in Orthodox. So we were well-versed, well-developed on both sides of the body, felt perfectly balanced. We could switch our stance and fight from either stance, especially with our kicks. So that's what I want you guys to do. Pick a technique. Let's say we start with a roundhouse kick. It could be a side kick, it could be a back kick, it could be a crescent kick, whatever you're going for. But most of us, if we're Thai boxers or if we're boxers, we stay in our Orthodox stance, we throw our kick, and then we go back to Orthodox and we work from here. But in Taekwondo, we do line drills. So whatever your room allows for you to do, let's pick a roundhouse kick and let's go 50 kicks in a row. So I'm gonna go 1 and I land in Southpaw, 2, 3, then I turn, I'd go all the way back and I'd carry on until I got 25 on each leg. That's huge, guys. Like I said, it's really good for developing both sides of the body and then just getting that balance and the confidence to be able to throw both. Now, how this applies to actually fighting in MMA is, let's say I throw a switch kick on Vince and I land back in my Orthodox stance. What's the most common counter? Bang, is the right hand. So if I fall into that, if I'm not actively defending or ready or trapping his hands or anything like that, then I could easily get countered because that's what Vince has repped out thousands of times, right? So instead, let's say I'm able to throw my switch kick, but I pull it all the way back to Southpaw now, and now he comes rushing in with what he always likes to throw, and now I can fire off from Southpaw because I've thrown that side kick tons and tons of times before. So one more, let's just demonstrate that here. I throw my kick, and I pull it all the way back, bang, and then he comes rushing in, which is his common counter, right? Everyone practices 3-point block and step in with the right hand, but look what's exposed now. My liver, I'm throwing that right hand, fire off that side kick, right? We talk about like the Southpaw advantage and how the liver's on different sides of the body in the previous video. If you haven't watched that, we talked about why you shouldn't train Southpaw or train the opposite stance that you've been training in, sort of the pros and cons. We highly recommend that you check that out. The answer pretty much is you should, for different reasons, multiple reasons. So now let's take a look at some takedowns.
Now we're going to be covering some takedowns using that little switch stance, all right? So with this one, instead of doing our switch jab, which I talked about earlier, what we're going to be doing is throwing our rear hand and we're hopping into the opposite stance at the same time we're cutting like a 45-degree angle on our opponent. So it's going to look something like this. I'm literally hopping and landing on both feet at the same time, throwing that right hand or the rear hand to distract them. All right, once I've gotten this position, now what I'm going to be doing is shooting in for my takedown. Because we are drilling this right now, all I want you guys to do, lower your level, take that penetration step, get that head right in his chest, you can get the hands right around the knees, and just push your opponent. He's going to walk back so that we can see in the center of the camera, and what we're going to be doing is just staying in the stance. So I started in Orthodox, now I'm going to be in Southpaw. I'm going to do the same exact thing. With my rear hand, I'm going to be throwing, hopping to the opposite stance, I'm cutting that angle, and now again, I'm changing my level, penetration step, and just pushing it as if I were going to shoot a double. So it looks something like this. One more time. Alright. And then from this one, you guys can get used to like getting your shots off of cutting that angle, off of getting to that opposite stance. It's a really good one too because oftentimes when you're fighting someone, they're not expecting you to immediately switch, get an opposite stance, which changes the way you're going to take someone down. And by doing this, you can practice that.
So whether you're just getting started, whether you've been training for a long time, whether you're Orthodox or Southpaw, I invite you guys to check out the new fightTIPS.com and our courses that we have on there. It's friendly for all levels and for all different stances. All right, so check it out. Links in the description below. You guys are going to love it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll get back to you. But until then, be sure to subscribe to get the fight tips before your opponent does. I'm Shane.
Fight Tips
Fight Tips for the underdogs.